click on the next activity.
The Sweet and Sour Birthday.
Change user.
The Sweet and Sour Birthday. Martina looked at the clock on the dashboard as Dad drove the car. Only 2 hours to go until Mom's birthday dinner. It was going to be perfect. Martina had picked flowers from their backyard and put them in a vase. Her little brother Emilio had set the dining room table with the plates and glasses the family used only on special occasions. Dad was making his famous spaghetti and meatballs with homemade sauce. And now they were on their way to pick up the special cake they had ordered. "Here we are," Dad announced. Martina and Emilio eagerly hopped out of the car. They couldn't wait to see the cake.
I bet it's going to be beautiful,
Martina predicted. The bell on the door jingled as they walked into the bakery. The air was warm and filled with the sweet smells of desserts baking.
I hope Mom will like her cake,
Emilio said.
Of course she will,
Martina replied.
Mom loves chocolate cake more than anything in the world.
Don't be silly, Dad said. She loves you guys way more than chocolate cake. The important thing is that you're doing something nice for Mom on her special day. Hello, Dad said to the cashier behind the bakery display case. We're here to pick up a cake. He slid a copy of the order across the counter to her. The woman looked at the sheet of paper and then checked a row of bakery boxes on a shelf. Here it is, she said. She took a pink box off the shelf and brought it to the counter. Would you like to take a look? She asked.
Yes, please,
Martina and Emilio said at the same time. Everyone leaned in as the cashier lifted the lid of the box. Oh my, said Dad.
Uh-oh,
said Martina.
This is not good,
said Emilio. The icing on the cake read, Happy 85th birthday, Grandpa Ralph. And even worse, on the inside of the lid, in giant letters, was the word vanilla.
Our cake should say, Happy birthday, Mom,
Martina told the cashier.
And it's supposed to be chocolate,
added Emilio. It looks like there's been a mix-up, the cashier said as she picked up the box. I'll be right back.
This is terrible,
Martina said.
I wanted Mom's birthday to be perfect. We have to have chocolate cake,
Emilio insisted.
It's her favorite.
Stop worrying, Dad said. Mom's birthday celebration is going to be great no matter what. Besides, I'll bet the cake is in the back somewhere. Before long, the cashier came out of the swinging doors that led to the kitchen. She was followed by the baker. I am so sorry, he said, but we gave your cake to another family by mistake. Grandpa Ralph's family, I'm guessing, said Dad. It seems that's what happened, said the baker. What can I get you instead? Do you have any other chocolate cakes? Asked Dad. I'm afraid not, the baker replied. I hope we haven't ruined your celebration. It's okay, Dad told the baker. I'm sure we can figure something out. Right, kids?
Sure,
said Martina. She didn't want the baker to feel any worse than he did. Dad, Martina, and Emilio walked slowly to the car.
What are we going to do?
Emilio asked. I'm sure there are other chocolate cakes in this town, Dad said. We just have to find one. They all got into the car. Dad sat for a minute, thinking. Where should we look first? He asked.
How about the supermarket?
Martina suggested.
They've always got plenty of cakes.
Great idea, Dad said. Let's go. At the market, Martina and Emilio ran straight to the bakery counter. While Dad took a ticket with the number 72 on it, Emilio and Martina bent down and looked into the glass case. There were very few cakes left.
There!
Emilio said, pointing to a small cake near the back.
There's one chocolate one.
Number 71? Called the man behind the counter. Here, a woman replied as she stepped up to the bakery case. We're next, Dad told the kids. I'll have that one, please, the woman said, pointing at the chocolate cake.
Oh, no,
Emilio whispered. When it was their turn, Dad walked up to the counter. Do you have any more chocolate cakes? He asked. I'm sorry, sir, but I just sold the last one, the man said. Would you like a vanilla cake instead? They're very good. No, that's okay, Dad replied. Thanks anyway.
What now?
Martina said.
Do we have enough time to make a cake from a mix?
Emilio asked. Dad looked at his watch. I think we can make it, he said. Good thinking, Emilio. Dad bought a box of chocolate cake mix and drove them all home. In the car, Martina read the instructions on the back of the box. The instructions said it would take 40 minutes for the cake to bake. There was only 1 hour left before Mom came home. They were going to have to hurry. While Dad went to wrap the presents, Emilio and Martina made the batter. Emilio got out a large bowl. Martina dumped in the cake mix and added water, eggs, and vegetable oil. Then Emilio stirred the batter until it was smooth and creamy. Martina poured it into a cake pan.
We're ready,
she called out. Dad came back to the kitchen and put the pan in the oven. Exactly 40 minutes later, the timer on the oven went ding! Cake's done, Dad hollered. Emilio and Martina ran into the kitchen just as Dad was setting the hot cake pan on a cooling rack. They all gathered around the sweet-smelling dessert. It's perfect, Dad said.
It looks pretty good,
Martina agreed.
What are we going to frost it with?
Asked Emilio. Oops, Dad said. We forgot to buy frosting.
You can make frosting with butter and powdered sugar,
Martina said.
Let me see if we have both.
She checked the fridge.
We've got butter,
she announced. Then she looked in the pantry.
Darn! But we don't have any powdered sugar.
Martina went back to the fridge to see if there was anything else they could use to frost the cake.
Peanut butter!
She cried, holding up a jar.
Perfect!
Emilio said.
Everybody knows that chocolate and peanut butter go together.
Dad put a lid on his spaghetti sauce and came over. This is as hard as a rock, he said, picking up the peanut butter. We'll never be able to spread it on the cake. Martina tried to stick a spoon into the jar.
You're right,
she said. Just then, keys jangled in the front door. I'm home, Mom sang. Listen, Dad told Martina and Emilio. Don't worry about the frosting. Just go out there and wish Mom a happy birthday. I'll have dinner on the table in a minute.
Don't forget to put the cake on that fancy plate Mom uses when we have company,
Martina reminded him. I won't, Dad said. When she entered the dining room, Mom could see how much care had been taken in setting the table. Everything looks lovely, she said as the family sat down together. Dad handed out bowls of spaghetti and meatballs, while Martina passed around the garlic bread. It was quiet for a moment as everyone took their first bites. Delicious, Mom exclaimed.
It's really good, Dad,
Martina agreed. Emilio didn't say anything. He was busy chewing a big, yummy meatball. When they were done, Emilio volunteered to clear the table. He picked up the empty bowls and headed into the kitchen.
Dad, can you come here?
Emilio called after a few minutes. Dad went in and saw Emilio proudly standing next to the cake. Something white was oozing down the sides.
I found some cream in the fridge to frost the cake with,
Emilio said.
I tried to use a beater to make whipped cream like Mom does, but it didn't get fluffy. But it should taste okay, right?
Emilio dipped his finger in the cream and then stuck the finger in his mouth.
Ew!
He exclaimed.
That doesn't taste like whipped cream.
That's because it's sour cream, said Dad, looking at the empty container. You make whipped cream out of heavy cream. Just then, Martina came in to get the dessert plates and realized what had happened. Emilio saw the look on her face.
I'm sorry,
he said.
I think I ruined Mom's cake.
Let's light the candles, said Dad. If I know your mom, you have nothing to worry about. Dad carried the glowing cake into the dining room and set it in front of Mom. They all sang as she made a wish and blew out the candles. Then Dad cut her a slice of cake. Dad, Emilio, and Martina watched as Mom brought the fork to her mouth.
Wow,
said Mom as she slowly chewed a bite of cake. I've never tried sour cream on chocolate cake before.
What do you think?
Asked Martina. A big smile lit up Mom's face. I think this is one of the best birthdays I've ever had. I love my special dinner, and I love all of you.
Do you love us as much as chocolate cake?
Asked Emilio with a grin. Nope, Mom replied. I love you way more. I told you, said Dad.